Yes, Batman, I'm here to... Ah! Sir, there's somebody coming. Evening, Jim. Greetings, fanboys and fangirls. As I, Jared, and I'm back again with yet another Spinmaster Batman review. Now, it's been a little while since I've done a Spinmaster Batman review, but that's because I'd had a look at most of everything that they had released in their basic line. But now, to kick off their new segment of their Batman line, which appears to be more of a cyber kind of themed line, it is their brand new multi-pack. You get the Moto Tank, a new Bat vehicle, and you also get Batman and Bane. So everything in this set is completely new. There's some reused sculpting, of course. So we've got a really exciting set to look at today and cannot wait to have a closer look. First of all, let's just go over the packaging really quick. Of course, it is brand new packaging for this new segment that Spinmaster has done. So let's just have a look. We can see up here that we have new art of Batman. I really like this. Kind of reminds me of some of the animated films that Warner Brothers has done. There I am, hello. Here's Batman right here in the packaging. Huge assortment of weapons. We have this new large size Bane figure. We get 12 accessories actually. Going down we have the Bat logo. And I'm just glad that this packaging kind of moves away from just the gray and it's kind of blue in motif, and I really like that. And on the side we have a bigger picture of Batman, and the other side has the same thing. And here's what I really like. I really like this cool artwork on the back. I think this is awesome. Won't stand up straight for me, so I've got to hold it. But I like this because it also incorporates the actual console that you get in the Batcave playset. We also have Batman's new cyber outfit or tech outfit, and along with Robin's, which you'll be seeing reviews of these guys pretty shortly. You also see the Batmobile back there and the Moto Tank, as well as the two essential parts of any Batcave display, the giant T-Rex and the giant Penny. So awesome. And up at the top, we have a picture of the city with the DC logo. And it's also worth noting that I ordered this from Walmart.com, and you can see that it is an exclusive version because of how beat up it is. Look at that. Can't get that kind of damage anywhere else. It's already partially ripped open for me right here, so it'll make it a lot easier to get to the product. I love it when Walmart just ships you something. Look at this. It's already actually open right here. I can actually look. I'm already inside. Seriously, though. They shipped it to me in a little plastic bag. So that's really unfortunate for Mint on card collectors, but guess what? I ain't that guy. So let's go ahead and have a look. Before we begin the review in earnest, I do feel it's important that I make sure that everyone knows that no, indeed, I do not work for Spinmaster, despite what I said in my... What do you think that they ought to do next? My vote, go for a battle-damaged Batman and have him up against a larger scaled Bane figure. And I suppose it's just one of those happy coincidences. Of course, I must not have been the only one thinking that Bane would make an excellent addition to those kind of large-sized figures that they put in the big multi-packs. Of course, for me, he's the first Batman villain that my mind goes to when I think of these kinds of packs. It's not exactly like I would have wanted, but I also understand the need for a vehicle. I understand the need to make it more toyetic, I suppose, to borrow a term from Joel Schumacher. And
if I disappointed them in any way, then I really want to apologize, because it wasn't my intention. My intention was just to entertain them.
Let's go ahead and let's talk about the figures we get in the set. Let's let Bane hang out back here. It's worth pointing out that not only do you get this Batman here, which does not give him a specific designation or title, so we're just going to call him a Blue Batman and Blue Armor Batman. How about that? We get a really nice paint scheme on a really cool sculpt. In the past, we've talked about these figures before, how Batman kind of operates in this line on different levels of his armor. So you have the heavy armor over here that's more like Batman v Superman or Dark Knight Returns, and you have kind of the light armor over here. And what you have here is something actually different. The sculpting has not been present in either of those versions. As you can see, the head sculpt actually looks very different from anything that we've seen previously. It's even quite different than the standard Batman head sculpt that we've been seeing before this. So this is an entirely new sculpt. However, I do think that we see this sculpt in the basic line. I think that this is probably the same sculpt, and I don't own it yet, of the Bat-Tech Batman that's going to be very prominent in the new single-carded line. So I do think that this is a new variation of Armored Batman. So just be on the lookout for that. Chances are we'll be seeing him in many other variations as the line goes on, of course, as Spinmaster or any toy company would be want to do. So looking at some of those details, he is kind of like an in-between between the armored and the big bulked Batman. He's kind of like a halfway point. I like how the cowl is, and forgive the black on my hands, I've been customizing a little bit, so it's a little bit of acrylic right there. I do like how the cowl is kind of armored up, so I like the chin strap and all of that. I think that the eyes themselves look kind of mean, so that's really cool. It's much less of a peaceful looking Batman that we've seen on the eyes and the other ones. This one's a little more devious, so I like that. I like how the armor has a lot of kind of width to it. It's very wide. I like that. The gauntlets are really large as well. You can see that they're pretty involved. Kind of have some spiked knuckles right there like that. Also like the scallops. Moving on down, the legs are a little more familiar and a little bit more like what we've already seen in the line, but they do have some kind of interesting flourishes that we have not. Say, for instance, they look pretty similar to these boots. You can see there's some added tech lines and details through here. Even the boots themselves have some different designs on them. So they're really, and the belts are similar, but once again, you have these extra little design points. So I do think that there's a lot of interesting variation here, and this Batman definitely has its own identity. This even carries forward to the cape in the back, and I suppose this is intentional, but now the cape, it's kind of like hanging out on both sides. I guess it gives more the illusion that the cape is more connected on the sides, whereas before it was kind of coming in at a point. But it's still in there very well, and there's still a large gap there to where you can put accessories in. And just like with all the other Batmans, we'll look at the articulation just really quickly. The head doesn't really go up and down, but it does turn all the way around. It's kind of tight in there, though, so you might want to be careful. You also have these hinges at the shoulders. They go just about 90 degrees, which is nice. You do get a single jointed elbow, and you can swivel that all the way around, so that works out pretty well. It's almost 90. Nothing in the wrists, unfortunately. Nothing in the waist, unfortunately. Down here, we do get some excellent splits, where it's pretty much just a completely horizontal split. It is a little weird that the posts on those and the legs up here in the hips are light blue. You would think they would want those to be black so they wouldn't be as noticeable as you turn the figure. You do get a cut there at the thigh. You can have his leg go way up for a really nice kick. You do get a single joint right here to where it can almost do 90, but I'm always saying that, you know, they really should make those a little deeper. You can also swivel the boot all the way around. Nothing at the ankles because, well, there never is. So overall, plenty of articulation and really no different than what we've seen with the previous Batman figures. So you may have already noticed Batman's gigantic pile of accessories. Batman here comes with about 12 different accessories. I know we've seen this one before, but this is the first time I've seen it in this kind of semi-transparent blue. Just a wrist gauntlet for Batman. And here he is wearing it. Looks really nice with the blue on the outfit. Here's one that we've all seen before. This is the shield. It's been around since the very first wave. You can take it apart and make two blades for Batman. And here's Batman with the shield. Like I said, it can be burst apart to make blades. Next up, we have this buzzsaw hand. We have seen that in the most recent wave. Here is Batman with the buzzsaw hand, and of course he's got the other one there with him. So I think this is a really cool look. Here's one that we've seen quite a bit in the most recent waves. This is kind of the jetpack. We've seen this with some Robin figures. And we just plug that in the back, and boom, Batman has some really cool kind of blue-looking wings right there. Here's Batman's blue katana. We're going to say that's his lightsaber. What do you say? Yeah, I say we go for it. Lightsaber. Bat saber? Here's just one of the basic batarangs that we see in the line. You can just grab it from here. Just that same kind of semi-transparent blue, and I'm pretty sure we've seen this one before. Here is just the exact same batarang repeated, so he does get two of those. Here's the grappling launcher that we've seen since the beginning of the line, but done in that transparent blue. Now this one's interesting. It's actually more of a grappling, like, well, it's funny, it's not a grappling gun. I guess this would more be the grappling launcher. So he just holds it on this handle right here, and it should, come right out and shoot. Of course it doesn't. It's not removable here. Reminds me more of like an exaggerated version of the animated series device. We also get 2 gigantic batarangs, so these are pretty cool, if not maybe a little unnecessary, but I still like them. And here's Batman's RPG missile launcher. Turns out he's not okay with guns, but he's great with missile launchers. No, I'm kidding. I really don't know what it is, but it is unbelievable how much this looks like an actual like lethal weapon. I'm too old for this. I'm not sure that Batman would be carrying this thing around, but still, it's kind of neat. And here's Batman with those newer accessories that I'm not as accustomed to seeing. So those look really good with the suit. And it wouldn't be a toy review on YouTube if a grown man in his 30s didn't find something to complain about with a toy that's intended for a 3rd grader. And for me, I would say that would be that I wished he'd came with some armor pieces, aside from gauntlets. I would have loved to have seen the chest armor pieces, and I would have loved to have seen a helmet done in that same kind of transparent blue, but that may be something that they're saving for the basic figure loadouts. So I guess we'll just have to see when we get to those. Overall, Batman's a lot of fun here. He's very well made and a great introduction for me for this brand new sculpting that they have for this armored suit. I think this is really nice, and I think the guys at Spinmaster did a really good job. All right, so here's the coup de grace, the thing that I'd say that most people are buying this set for, and that would be Mr. Bane here. Yeah, so we've been waiting for a Bane for a while. We've been waiting for a Bane for many months, it seems like, in the Spinmaster line. Isn't it amazing how the Spinmaster line only started showing up like a year this month as soon as I'm recording this video. It's only been a year, and they have this massive amount of characters and villains already in the line. But I do feel like they were holding off on Bane because they knew that they could do something special with him, and that special thing that they did was get you to buy a vehicle pack so that you would spend a little more money. But seriously, though, first of all, I gotta say, just sculpting-wise, let's just break the figure down like that. I think that this looks really, really, really good. I think that this really captures that essence of Bane from the 90s comics, where he's this huge hulking brute. I think the arms are just gigantic. They have so much heft and bulk to them. This guy could give He-Man a run for his money. You can see that just from the side that Bane has this kind of slouched, almost kind of simian sort of look to him, and I think that's really cool. You can see that the face is appropriately kind of gnarled and angry. Really love that. And it's very much a luchador kind of mask, which I think they were going for in the early 90s with the Nightfall story. You can see the musculature on the chest is really well sculpted. Really like that. Sometimes I always feel like in modern Bane figures that they don't go quite far enough, and I think this one went exactly far enough. You can see with the belt here, I like that, how they kind of have the chain motif, and a lot of recent Bane toys have that. See, we kind of have the biker boots here. We can see we got the leather gloves. And on the side, you have his venom tubes that are going from the arm all the way. And I like how they even went to the trouble of having this be painted through here. And it goes to this pack on the back, which also leads to the head up here. Now, you can still turn the head, and you see it kind of, it's funny because it breaks, the illusion that that's actually like a tube. But still, I wouldn't have give up the articulation just to have that look okay from the back. But I really like the design of the tube. It's very kind of, old school sci-fi looking. It looks like a prop from like Lost in Space from the 60s. So I think that looks really cool. And I just think that overall, the visual on Bane here is just right on the money. And especially for this line. And I think that if you look at other characters that are kind of like super deformed in this line, then, he's a really good match for those. So before we look at him with the other villains, let's go ahead and look at Bane's articulation, because there's some good stuff and there's some bad stuff. So he does have just a rotation at the neck. He does have some really good hinges at the arms right there. Really like that. You can definitely get 90 degrees, no problem. You can go all the way around, of course. He does have a single joint right there at the elbow, and you can almost get 90 with that. It does rotate all the way around, which is nice. Nothing at the wrist, and these are large enough to where it would have been nice to have had some rotation. We can see that there is nothing at the waist, nothing at the diaphragm or anything like that, but Bane is a little more acrobatic than I thought he would have been, because he can do a better split than a Power Ranger can. So it's kind of wild. You can see that we have those weird flesh-colored pegs. So once again, just like Batman, it is really strange that they didn't just make those black. Also, we do get a rotation at the hip right there. We get a really nice kick for Bane especially, and we don't get anything in the knees. Nothing there, totally solid, no hinges, nothing in the ankles. And I think that is going to be the big disappointment for a lot of people. I think that people were hoping Bane would have the full articulation suite that we've come to expect from the basic figures. And to get where people are coming from, I think we have to go back in time just a little bit. Let's go back and let's look at, say, Copperhead. Copperhead is one of the larger kind of villain figures, and he has a pretty decent little joint down there at the knee and a really full suite of articulation. And, I think that might be a reason people would expect it. Then, the same thing when you look at, like, Bronze Tiger. Bronze Tiger has a kind of barely there hinge to the point to where you really get more forward and not much crunch. So that one is a little weird. But, you still have it, so I get that. But don't forget that if you look at Killer Croc here, nothing. As a matter of fact, he has the exact same articulation scheme as Bane right here. So that's something to keep in mind that makes him really sort of consistent with what we've seen from the line. Exact same thing with Man-Bat. Man-Bat features the exact same articulation set that Bane does. I have his wings out, so just don't mind that. And Bane is much larger than the Man-Bat. And of course, let's not forget King Shark. You can see that he has the same articulation. And to really hit my point home, let's look at the ultimate virtuoso of Spinmaster articulation. That's right, the ultimate superposable Clayface. Look at that. If you can't tell, I'm kidding. Clayface only has a cut at the waist, which is funny because no other Spinmaster figure has a cut at the waist, as far as I know. But there is nothing. The legs are totally static. You get some hinges and rotation up here at the arms. That's it. You can't even turn the head. And, as I've said before, Clayface is so diminutive when it comes to how they made the figure. He's so sprawled out that he's teeny tiny when it comes to actual height. So I do think that even though Bane is missing some articulation, it is fairly consistent with what we've seen in the line so far. And Bane is the tallest out of all of the figures that they've done in the basic line. And here we have every villain character that has gotten a figure in the Spinmaster line, except for the Riddler so far, which you'll be seeing a review of him pretty soon. But you can see that just about everybody else is here, unless I'm forgetting somebody, and it's possible. It's great to see how far they've come. This is 1 year's worth of Rogues Gallery. So it's amazing how deep they've gone with some of these characters, like Firefly, and you have characters like Copperhead, and of course even Killer Moth. So I am very proud of what they've been able to accomplish, and I think they've done a great job. Can you imagine how far they'll get by next year if they keep this up? Hopefully we'll be seeing things like Penguin, Two-Face, Poison Ivy, you name it. Shoot, at this point we may even be seeing a Ratcatcher. I mean, really, Mr. Zaz, Scarface, and the Ventriloquist. You name it, we may be seeing just about everybody. Hush. There's so many different ones, but it's so cool to see these guys together. Very nice. All right, and here is the other big draw of the set, especially for parents and kids, I think, is that you get the Bane Moto Tank right here. This is a really interesting looking vehicle, and I think it deserves its own little spotlight here. You can see that we have this motif of kind of this light cyberish blue. It's very techy that goes along with the black. It almost reminds me of something we would have seen in like the Shadow Tech line from The Batman, if you guys remember that. And I think this is pretty neat. You can see that we have lots of cool sculpting in here, like on this console where you actually see the Bat logo like that. The seat is very well designed, I think. It actually has it like there's supposed to be padding there. We can actually see that we have some exhaust pipes. Same on the other side as well. Plenty of cool engine detail down here and some pistons. We can see that there's all kinds of neat little armor, and I like how it's kind of a rough texture on the inside of it. All kinds of bolts and rivets that are actually sculpted in. We can see that we have tank treads, but of course there's wheels down there. Then on the front here, we can see that we have what looks to be some gun turrets and like missile launchers maybe on the front. So I really like that. You can see that we have the bat head that you would see like on a classic Batmobile. So on the back, we can see that we have a bat fin, and we have the tops of the treads. So I think that that about covers it for what you get with this vehicle. And let's look at how Batman fits on here. So it was a little difficult to get Batman's hands properly aligned onto those handles, but I've got him on there, and he fits very securely. You can see that his legs just come off the ground just enough to where they're not in the way as you roll there. And I think he looks really good on there. I think the color of the outfit really complements the Moto Tank here. So I think that looks good. I like how the cape kind of drapes off to the side a little, and I suppose you can kind of pose it on top of here if you want to do a balancing act. But yeah, it looks nice even from the front. I think it's appropriately sized. It's really quite a large vehicle. And yeah, I actually think that this was an unexpected little treat that you got in this set. And it will look good with the new repaint version of the Batmobile that they have out that's repainted with blue highlights. So I think this is pretty cool. Plus, you can get some gold like this. Yes, Batman, I'm here to... Ah! I believe that recently the director of the Dark Knight trilogy, Christopher Nolan, was quoted as saying that Tom Hardy's Bane performance had yet to be fully appreciated, and I actually agree with that. If you want to support Bane to make sure that he is fully appreciated, then I highly suggest that you buy this really cool set from Spinmaster. All joking aside, it is a really nice set. It runs about 20 bucks, I believe. And for that, I think you get quite a good value here. You get a figure that is quite a bit larger than anything you could get in the basic line of figures that are usually run right about $7 or $8. And with the Batman figure, like I said, you're looking at a basic figure that would usually run about $8 in Walmart and other places. But then the vehicle there itself, usually you can't get those but in like some of the bigger packs and things, so I would estimate the vehicle's worth about $10. Not to mention that you get 12 different accessories, and usually you only get 3 of those mystery accessories per basic figure. So I would say that overall, you're getting probably $35 worth of stuff, or $30 at least worth of stuff for 20. And I really think that Spin Master has packed the value into this set. Not only that, but this isn't some kind of obscure character or some sort of like half-realized character like Clayface was in that set. And it's not an obscure character like the Copperhead and Batman ATV set. Instead, you have a very popular character with Bane. There's no kinds of weird mud stains on anything or anything like that. And you get Batman in some really cool new armor, which is some new sculpting, and a really nice paint scheme that actually seems halfway legit for maybe something Batman would use. So I really think that this one is a no-brainer. It's definitely a winner in my opinion, and I hope that if you guys see it out, then maybe go ahead and pick this thing up. Really, there's not much to lose. If the knee articulation bothers you that much on Bane, then I really don't know where you were for the other larger figures, because those guys had the exact same issue. Never really bothered me or limited much of what I was doing with these guys. Keep in mind, the main idea for these is that, you know, these are toys aimed at younger collectors. But I do think that as an adult collector, that there's really a lot here to appreciate. And so I hope that you get just as much of a kick out of these guys as I did. Anyway, guys, keep your eyes here on the channel and Fanboys Forever so that you can see more Spin Master Batman reviews. Keep in mind, I have a really comprehensive back catalog, and I also am going to be looking forward to the brand new figures that Spin Master has out, including things like this. So hopefully we'll be getting to those very quickly, and you'll be seeing those reviews shortly after the holidays. So guys, we do ask that you please subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss any of those upcoming videos, and comment down below. Please let me know what you think about this set. Where do you think they could go for the very next set? Last time I guessed, I sort of guessed right. So what do I think they should do next? Well, I don't really know. So in that case, let's just see if Spin Master is watching the reviews. And we'll know if they do this next set. You ready? Okay, here we go. The next set should be Ra's al Ghul and Batman with a big fig Ubu. That's right, Ra's al Ghul's big bald bodyguard. That's right, that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for Batman versus Ra's al Ghul and an Ubu. And like I said, no vehicle necessary for me, but hey, if you want to give us like a big old Lazarus pit or something in there, maybe something you dunk the figures in, maybe have it be a slime thing. Yeah, go for it. That's what I want to see. So we'll see if Spin Master's watching these things. Anyway, though, guys, thank you so much for watching. God bless you and yours. Be safe out there, and I'll see you on Fanboys Forever. Fanboy out. And if you're watching around the holidays, Merry Christmas. Love you guys. Take care.